Hello friends, today we will see and have an overall view of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2nd 2023, which is gradually going to replace our Indian Penal Code. Now before proceeding, I would like to say that henceforth I would be saying BNS for Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Number 2, in this particular video, we are doing an overview. So I am not doing a comparative study section by section. What will be discussed is the new provisions which have come in the BNS, which were absent or not there in our IPC. Now, I would like to say that this particular amendments or this particular change in IPC, this was recommended by our law commissions since 1966. So there are total 19 law commission reports starting from 1966, which say that certain amendments, certain modifications, certain deletions are required in IPC. Now the old IPC has 23 chapters. The new BNS has 20 chapters. So 3 chapters are less. Now the reason behind these 3 chapters being less is very simple, that various chapters are being clubbed together. Various offences are being clubbed together and put into one single chapter, which in our IPC were at different chapters. For example, offences relating to woman and child. Now they are clubbed in one particular chapter. So that is how these chapters are reduced. In IPC, our old IPC, there are 511 sections. In the new BNS, there are 358 sections. Now again, I would like to say that this reduction of 153 sections has happened because of clubbing. For example, in our IPC, there were separate sections for definition, offense and punishments. Now all this has been clubbed together. That is why these 153 sections are reduced. So now let us start our overview of the BNS. The first section which I would like to go is section 4, punishment. Now here there is a new punishment which has come and which is community service. Lot has been talked about it, that how community service will be done, what will be the exact things which would be required to be done. Now let me tell you that this concept is a very good concept, but it has to be implemented with caution. First, I will say some benefits which will arise because of this community service. Number 1, prison crowding. As everybody knows, there is a huge crowd in prison. That prison crowding will be avoided. And as a consequence of prison crowding, the cost of maintaining prisons will also come down. Now, before proceeding to the cautions, I would like to give you an example. In 1971, a Hindi film had come whose name was Dushman. It was starring Rajesh Khanna, Meena Kumari, Mumtaz. If you see that movie, it so happens that Rajesh Khanna, under the influence of drink, kills one particular farmer. The trial is held and judge gives a very different and a novel punishment to him. He is directed for next 2 years to stay in the house of the person who has died and look after all the needs of that house, the education of his student, the maintenance of his old parents, the farming of that particular person. So all this becomes as a punishment for him. So we can see that somewhere in 1971 also, maybe it may not be a legal forum, but yes, even the film industry had thought of what we call today as community service. Now that apart, the important part which is required to be understood is the nature of community service should have a dignity. There has to be a respect in doing that. Because if there is no respectful community service given, the chances that if a person is undergoing a community service and if he has to face hatred, probably the chances of a new crime appearing is very high. So it has to be done with caution. It has to be done with dignity. It has to be done in such a way that the person performing it is not identified as a person doing community service. It should get blended in such a manner that whoever are coming, for example, I am just giving this as an example. For example, if a person is asked to do the Kar Seva in the Gurudwara, now there everybody is doing community service in a way. So if among that 50, 40, 100%, if this person is doing that Kar Seva, nobody would identify him as a convict, because it is absolutely necessary that when he is undergoing a community service, he as a convict should not be looked upon by the people who are availing that service. Because if he is identified, and obviously you know everywhere there are people who want to speak negative about other, that may create a rift, that may create a problem. So it is a very welcoming state. Yes, community service has to be there, but at the same time, according to me, there should be an appropriate community service agency, community service board, community service forum, and there has to be something of that sort who would regulate that. So with this, we'll proceed to the next term, and that is section 41. Now, as far as section 41 is concerned, there is a technical change. It is housebreaking. I will first tell you the original and then I will tell you the BNS. Housebreaking by night. That was the term in our original IPC. But now it is housebreaking after sunset and before sunrise. So these are some minor changes, but yes, they are absolutely necessary in that. Then we have a new section, abatement outside India for offence in India. Now this is a very nice section which has come, section 48. So I will just read it. A person abates an offence within the meaning of this Sanhita who without and beyond India abates the commission of any act in India which would constitute an offence if committed in India. So in a way, we can understand that if somebody is aiding particular offence, but he is not in India, but that particular act which he is doing outside India amounts to offence in India, probably he would also be booked in that particular offence. Then we have a new section, that is section 72. Now this is a welcoming step which has come. This particular section says disclosure of identity of victim of certain offences, which means the media in whatever form, any publishing house, they are barred from disclosing their identity. Now let me say something here. It is whoever prints or publishes the name or any matter which may make known the identity of any person against whom an offence under section 64, this particular section, and various other section is alleged or found to have been committed, shall be punished with the imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years, and shall also be liable to fine. Like for example, the rape victims or the name of victim of sexual intercourse by a person in authority, and various other sections which are stated here. In those cases, the disclosure should not be done, the identity of that person should not be done through media or maybe through any other medium, so that people at large could identify that particular person, that okay, this is the person, इनके साथ ये हुआ है, ये वो आदमी है, ये वो महिला है, whatever it is there. Identically, now we will see again a new section which has come, and that is section 111. Now what this 111 says? 111 is a section which says organized crime. Now it's a very long section, but one thing is nice, that this particular concept of organized crime is now being captured in BNS. Otherwise there were different acts, Makoka, this, that. Now it has been centralized. One single act which says it is organized crime. Another section which has come is 113, which speaks about terrorist act. Again, it is a very long section. It has captured the acts of terrorism, what amounts to an act of terrorism. So it's a welcoming thing that this has particularly come into our picture. Now we will go to section 153. Now this is particularly under the chapter offences against the state. Now this particular thing is waging war against government of any foreign state at peace with the government of India. Now this is a very larger and bigger definition. Why? I will tell you the original part of it. Waging war against an Asiatic power in alliance with government of India. So it was limited to the Asiatic powers or with Asiatic friends we had. But now the definition has been enlarged, the scope has been enlarged, like foreign state at peace with government of India. So the definition is going to the next level. Now one particular thing, and that is section 164. Here it is harboring the deserter. Now here it is made, according to me, gender neutral. Initially it was, the provision does not extend to the case in which the harbor, I am reading the original IPC, harbor given by a wife to her husband. This is the original IPC. And now this provision does not extend to the case in which harbor is given by the spouse of the deserter. So again here they have made it gender neutral. Originally it was only wife. Now this may cover the another aspect also. After this we will go to section 178. Counterfeiting of coins was our original section. Now it has got included in that counterfeiting of stamp issued by government for purpose of revenue, that is an offence. Counterfeiting of currency note as well as bank note. Maybe the small changes, but yes, they are important as on today. Then we will see that section 197. Here it is a minor change. Imputations, assertions prejudicial to the national integration. Now there is one particular thing which is added. Whoever by words, either spoken or written or by signs or by visible representation, this is there. Now the addition, or through electronic communication. So now this has also been put into this particular chapter. That this would amount to something against the nation. Plus there is 197(1)(d), which is an offence, makes or publishes false or misleading information jeopardizing the sovereignty, unity and integrity or security of India. So this is again an addition which has been there into this particular section. Now we will see a new section which is section 226. Now what is that section? Attempt to commit suicide to compel or restrain exercise of lawful power. Now I will read that particular section. Whoever attempts to commit suicide with intent to compel or restrain any public servant from discharging his official duty shall be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year, or with fine, or with both, or with community service. So in a way you cannot create a threat to a public servant and restrain him from doing a particular act. After this we will see section 304. Now this is again a new offence which has come, and that is snatching, chain snatching, mobile snatching, because over the years IPC did not have particular section for this. I am not saying there were no provisions, there were provisions, but the nomenclature snatching has been now incorporated in BNS. Along with that, you see the section of theft. Now there are certain good additions to it. Whoever commits theft, I am reading section 305 of BNS. Whoever commits theft in any building, tent or vessel used as a human dwelling or used for custody of property, or now the new things start, of any means of transport used for the transport of goods or passengers, or of any article or goods from any means of transport used for the transport of goods or passengers, or of idol or icon in a place of worship, or of any property of the government or of a local authority. So these are some new additions which have come in the BNS. Now we will see section 337. 337. Now this is regarding the forgery of the records. There is a new aspect added to it, that even the forgery, it will amount to forgery if the as an offense, if forgery is done of identity document issued by the government, including voter identity card and Aadhaar card. So these are small but absolutely required additions which have come in the BNS. Now we will go to the main aspect which is always being discussed. Lot of people also want to know, because there is a confusion, which law will prevail now, what situation it will prevail, IPC को कभी लगेगा, BNS कभी लगेगा, क्या BNS IPC को पूरा निकाल देगा. So I will read the entire section, that is section 358. It will make very clear to you. Indian Penal Code is hereby repealed. Okay. Now 358(2). Notwithstanding the repeal of the code referred to in subsection 1, it shall not affect a. the previous operation of court so repealed, or anything duly done or suffered thereunder, or any right, privilege, obligation or liability acquired, accrued or incurred under the code, any penalty, punishment incurred in respect of any offences committed against the code so repealed, or any investigation or remedy in respect of such penalty or punishment, or any proceeding, investigation or remedy in respect of such penalty or punishment as aforesaid, and any such proceeding or remedy may be instituted, continued or enforced, and such penalty may be imposed as if, now this is the more important part, as if that code had not been repealed. Correct? As if that code had not been repealed. Then it says, notwithstanding such repeal, anything done or any action under the said code shall be deemed to have been done or taken under the corresponding provisions of this Sanhita. Last is, the mention of particular matters in subsection 2 shall not be held to prejudice or affect the general application of section 6 of General Clauses Act 1897 with regard to the effect of the repeal. So, this particular section makes it very clear that this BNS is not going to take effect retrospectively, number one. it will have effect prospectively when it is notified. Then it will come into the force. So the existing things, the existing cases, the existing investigations which are done will be as per our IPC only. Now, before concluding, I would like to give a small comparison table as regards a comparison between our sections of IPC and exactly the corresponding sections in BNS. Now I will give you a comparison, or rather the corresponding sections which are there, which we regularly use in our present IPC, and what are their corresponding sections. Now section first I will be reading the section of old IPC, and then I will read the corresponding section of BNS. 53 punishments, that is section 4 now in BNS. Section 107 abatement, corresponding section in BNS is 45. Section 100 right of private defense of the body extends to causing death. Corresponding section is section 38 of BNS. 120A definition of criminal conspiracy. Corresponding section is 61. 141 unlawful assembly. Corresponding section is 189. 146 rioting. Corresponding section is 191. 177 furnishing false information. Corresponding section is 212. 191 giving false evidence. Corresponding section is 227. 192 fabricating false evidence. Corresponding section is 228. 300 murder. Corresponding section is 101. 302 punishment for murder. Corresponding section is 103. 304B dowry death. Corresponding section is 80. 306 abatement of suicide. Corresponding section is 108. 307 attempt to murder. Corresponding section is 109. 309 attempt to commit suicide. Corresponding section is 110. 312 causing miscarriage. Corresponding section 88. 320 grievous hurt. Corresponding section is 116. 323 punishment for voluntary causing hurt. Corresponding section is 117. 326 voluntarily causing grievous hurt by dangerous weapons or means. Corresponding section is 118. 326A voluntarily causing grievous hurt by use of acid etc. Corresponding section is 124. 351 assault. Corresponding section is 130. 354 assault of criminal force to woman with intent to outrage her modesty. Corresponding section is 74. 354A sexual harassment and punishment for sexual harassment. Corresponding section is 75. 354B assault or use of criminal force to women with intent to disrobe. Corresponding section is 76. 354C, voyeurism. Corresponding section is 77. 354D, stacking. Corresponding section is 78. 359, kidnapping. Corresponding section is 137. 375, rape. Corresponding section is 63. 376D, gang rape. Corresponding section is 70. 378, theft. Corresponding section is 303. 383, extortion. Corresponding section is 308. 390, robbery. Corresponding section is 309. 391, dacoity. Corresponding section is 310. 396, dacoity with murder. Corresponding section is 311. 405, criminal breach of trust. Corresponding section is 316. 420, cheating and dishonestly inducing delivery of property. Corresponding section is 318. 441, criminal trespass. Corresponding section is 329. 445, housebreaking. Corresponding section is 329. 463, forgery. Corresponding section is 336. 464, making a false document. Corresponding section is 335. 467, forgery of valuable security, will, etc. Corresponding section is 338. 468, forgery for the purpose of cheating. 336, subsection 3. 470, forged document. Corresponding section 336, subsection 4. 499, defamation. Corresponding section is 356. 503, criminal intimidation. Corresponding section is 351. So these were certain sections which we regularly use in IPC. So I just thought, let us have the corresponding sections given to you. So friends, I hope this particular overview of the BNS, because as I have said, I am not doing a detailed analysis, but I have tried to tell you the new aspects, the new concepts, the new offences, the new amendments which are there in the BNS as compared to our Indian Penal Code. I hope you would have enjoyed this particular video, and I am thankful that you have given your valuable time for looking this video. Thank you.